Hello? How are you guys doing? My hair is like poofing out right here. I don't know why. I'm leaving Tanya's house. And we went and got a fountain pop, but I got a water. And I just texted Alex and said I was on my way home. And he said he is in bed with the babies. And he just got back from dinner a little bit ago with his friend. And I did a live stream and had a bagel sandwich. So Tanya and I drove around. We were telling funny stories and stuff. Anyway, it has been a good day today. But I did not wake up with it being a good day because they were mowing the lawn and doing landscaping. They always come in like, you never know when they're coming in. They just like do all the landscaping, the walk. Well, they don't do the walk. They like trim the hedges and all this kind of stuff. And so the dogs were like barking like crazy when I woke up today. And I just didn't sleep very well last night. I've been kind of having this weird nightmare over and over and over again. I don't know really why. Anyway, and I had it, and then I fell asleep. I like went and let the dogs out, and which was a mess with them cutting the lawn. And then I woke up, or then I went back to bed, and the dogs came upstairs and went back to bed. And I don't know what is going on with Boo Radley, but like he's been just like strangely. I need to probably schedule a vet appointment because he's just kind of like been screaming out like every couple days. Like he'll be sitting there on the bed, and then all of a sudden it's like a ghost touches him. He's just like, ah, and he screams out. But today, like Boo Radley, when it is like thundering outside and like raining, he walks up my body. Like he can't get close enough to, like he wants to be like on me. And we were laying in bed, and then all of a sudden I woke up and he's like right on top of me, like shaking. And I was like, sweetie, what is going on? And I like moved him to the side, and he like crawled right back up on me again. And so I picked him up, and I thought, is it thunderstorming outside? Like I went and I looked, and no, it was very nice out today. It was like mid-60s and sunny. And so I don't know if it was like the lawnmower or something. And I asked Alex, I said, have you noticed that Boo Radley's been acting strange? Because he's been like that with me too. He's been really extra needy and really like attention seeking. But I just asked him, and he said tonight he's fine. He's just laying here. So it kind of like changed throughout the day, but this morning he was like that. So I don't know, maybe something scared him. He scares so easy. He doesn't kind of really know what's going on half the time. And poor little guy, you know, you just have to treat him very gentle. He's a gentle soul. So I got up, and I went in my office and I wrote a little bit. And then I was contacted today. This is so funny because I was just talking about this in my video that I did yesterday about why I went to college, and I joked in there about working for a publishing company. A publishing company contacted me today and asked me if I would be interested in satellite working from home to beta read like 3 to 4 chapters of books that before they come out, so I would read 3 to 4 chapters and say, yes, I think this is a book that you would be interested in, or no, I wouldn't. Because, you know, people send like 3 to 4 chapters with a query letter. And a query letter is just basically explaining the book and the intention and all that kind of stuff. So I would be somebody that like reads them and then suggests whether or not they should, you know, continue to read the manuscript or not. I could not believe it. I was like, this is crazy. And it came as a result of me doing reviews specifically on my Peter Likes Books channel. They said, you're one of the only booktube channels that specifically does reviews. And there's not. I mean, I know a couple. Connor O'Brien's another one that like we review every book that we read. And I tried to do it last year, and it's hard because people don't love reviews because a lot of times they don't want it spoiled for them, the book. So I do spoiler-free reviews. But then people that have read the book want to hear what you have to say. And so I've thought about doing both, like a spoiler-free review and a spoil review. but I haven't done that yet. And so anyway, I was kind of like, oh my God, this is so cool. So I responded to them, and we're kind of in talks about that. So I was really excited about that. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is something that's coming as a result of my BookTube channel. And, you know, things constantly changing in the world, so positive opportunities. And so that was that, and then I worked on my book for a while today, and then I went and got a coffee. I got a coffee afterwards. I wasn't really wanting a coffee when I got up this morning. I was like, I need like a new drink. I'm starting to think I need a new Starbucks drink for the summer, like green tea, or I don't know, something, but it has to be low fat. It can't be one of those sugary drinks. And I don't really enjoy them, and they make me really tired anyway, so. And then I came home, and I made videos, and then I uploaded the videos, and I fed the dogs, and Alex and I are planning a trip, and he the last time that we went through a travel agent, it like went really, really well. So he contacted her again today, or contacted her last week, and we got the results today that she sent us. And so we're looking at some places in the Dominican Republic, and we're looking at some other places in the Caribbean, Turks and Caicos and Aruba. And I'd really like to go to Grand Cayman, but it's so expensive. I've been there, I was gonna say I've been there twice, but I've been there once. With my first boyfriend and my dad and my stepmom, we went there. And I've been to the Dominican Republic before too, twice. Punta Cana the last time, and it's beautiful. So we might do that. So I was looking at the different hotels that she sent us and the different packages, which were all very reasonable. And then, let's see. I made a bagel sandwich, which consists of this everything bagel. It's some special brand that's supposed to be healthier for you. I don't know what it's called. But then I put down this like low-fat onion and chive cream cheese, and then a piece of Havarti cheese. I already know that this is not real healthy, okay? So, but I do the best I can. So then I put down a piece of Havarti cheese, and then cut up red onion, and then I put another piece of Havarti cheese over it with the bagel on top. And then I had a little bit of potato salad left over, so I ate that. And after I fed the dogs, and I was watching The Real Housewives of New York. I trimmed my beard today too, so of course it's driving me crazy. You would think it would drive me crazy when I haven't trimmed it, but it's driving me crazy because I have trimmed it, which I don't know why that is, but anyway. I even did I cut up around here? I can't remember if I did or not. I don't think I, did I? Did I? And, so then I did a live stream because I said to Alex, I said, how long are you going to be? And they had just ordered their dinner. So he said, it'll probably be at least an hour. So I was like, I'm going to do my live stream. And so I did my live stream. I had a great time in there, and it was real fun. And then asked Tanya if she wanted to get a fountain Coke and drive around. She got a fountain Coke, but she's been cutting down her fountain Coke. She's only drinking like one a week right now. So she got one. She's like, oh my God, I've been craving this all week long. And we drove around for probably a half an hour and just talked and laughed, and she gave me this sweatshirt. She originally bought it for herself, and she wore it once and she didn't like it on her, so she gave it to me. Not tonight, she gave it to me a while ago. But it's so comfy. And now I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to vlog. I'm going to go home really quick and see Alex for a little bit and talk to him before he goes to bed. And I think it's almost midnight. Yeah, it's 11:59. Spend like a half an hour with him, then vlog. Maybe listen to my audiobook, and then go to bed pretty early. I don't really have a lot to do tomorrow and Friday. I'm kind of excited about it. My dad went over and saw my uncle today. My cousin texted me and she's like, your dad just left here. And I was like, he did? And she was like, yeah, he had asked me for her phone number. He asked me like 5 times a year for Caroline's cell phone number. I'm like, do you ever store phone numbers in your phone? And she was like, it was really nice. I'm really glad that he came to see my dad. My dad was so happy. And you know, I have to think that on some level it's kind of weird for my dad that, you know, all these people that he knew, like, you know, siblings and everybody's getting sick and getting older and, you know, passing away, and he's kind of like the only one left. And it's really strange too, because my dad is like so healthy. I mean, he looks like he's 60, honest to God. He does not look like he's 78. And so it's just kind of strange for me, you know, that like all of my dad's contemporaries are like passing away and in retirement home. I could not imagine my dad in a retirement home. And yet he's at the age when people do go to retirement homes, you know? So it's like, but I thought that was so cool that he went over there and saw my Uncle Dave. I'm glad he did that. And let's see what else. That's about it. I need to go over there and see my uncle too, but I was trying to like wait until Caroline said it was like a good time. That's like a thing about me that like I don't like to be intrusive. So unless I'm like invited, like somebody calls me and says, hey, you should come over, and you know, like I won't come, like I just don't. And you know, like even with like funerals and stuff like that, like if it's not somebody that I'm really close to, I feel very bizarre going sometimes because I just don't like to be intrusive like that, you know what I mean? But I mean, it's my uncle, and he has 2 nephews and a niece, so we're pretty close. I probably should go see him. I'll call her tomorrow, and I'll see if there's a good day to go see him. The thing is, he's not like one for like just loving visitors either, you know, like just, maybe I shouldn't speak for him, I don't know. But in the last few years, that's who I've tried to be more of, is somebody that suits up and shows up and just is present, you know, because I think that the people that I know, and my mom was very much like that. Like she, you know, if somebody was in the hospital, she was right there, you know, with magazines and a book and all kinds of stuff. New nightgown, and you know, if somebody passed away, she loaf of bread, a casserole, she was right there. And I just wish I was more like that. And when my aunt was in the hospital the last time before she passed away, I called my cousin and I said, because she had called me, and I said, do you want me to come over there? And she said no. She said, I can handle it, I'm doing fine, blah blah blah, whatever. And then her good friend, Jessica, like went to the hospital, and later Caroline was like, Jessica just knew what I needed. She just showed up. And I thought, see, well, I would have just shown up, but I don't like to be intrusive. That's what I mean, right? And I think that I just need to start being that person that just shows up, you know, because I always get in my head and think, well, I don't want to burden them. They probably don't want me there. I'm probably bothering them. You know, I make it all about me, when in reality, it's a selfless act to go and do those things for people, and it has nothing to do with me whatsoever. I don't know. Do you guys relate to that at all? Do you like sometimes not like to be intrusive? I just feel like that stuff's kind of, I don't know. So I have been drinking so much water lately, like unbelievable amounts of water. These people have a little house in front of their house right here, and it's like a log cabin little house, and it is so cool. I'm like, I could live in that little house. Alex's best friend comes on Friday. I am sure he is so excited. And he has to pick her up at the airport at 5 in the morning on Friday morning. I'm sure he's so not excited about that, but he won't care. Next week it's supposed to be like 60s, 70s, and 80s in Indianapolis. Tanya, I thought it was supposed to be like 72 to 74 next week, because I looked, and Tanya was like, it's supposed to be like 85. And I was like, nuh-uh. She was like, yeah, it is. Oh, my nose is driving me crazy. Well, listen, I'm going to get off here, go in and spend some time with Alex and the dogs, and then I will be back in just a little bit. Bye. Okay, I'm back. Alex and I were talking about our vacation. We were trying to go through the different hotels that she gave us and see if we like any of them. I will tell you one thing that's interesting to me about going through a travel agent, which I didn't realize that people use travel agents today. You know, Alex used her. I guess she's a friend of his. I don't know, but he used her last year when we went to Mexico, and he got a really great rate. By the way, if you've gone to the Dominican Republic in the last year or two, like Punta Cana, and you've had a place that you stayed that you really, really liked, could you let me know? And we want it to be like kind of upscale, but like tranquil. We don't want like party vibe at all. So if you guys know of some place, let me know. But like I went into Expedia to just like plan the trip to see like how much it would cost in reference to like what she got. She got us like $1,500 off these trips. So I don't know like how travel agents do it, but like also like a direct flight from Indianapolis to Punta Cana. Like we leave at like 9 in the morning and we're there by like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's a direct flight. I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is crazy. So, yeah. There are other places, I mean, if you guys, we really want to stay in an all-inclusive because it's just easier for us. So, if you guys know of like an upscale all-inclusive, we don't want to wear wristbands, we don't want it like Party Central, we don't want any of that kind of stuff. Last year when we stayed at that Unico 87 in Mexico, it was unbelievable. And Alex is going to actually ask her, because I guess she's going there in June, like what it would be to go there this year. I was a little hesitant to go to Mexico because I've just been hearing about all these shootings and stuff. I've heard it was really dangerous to go to Mexico right now, so I thought, well, let's just steer clear of Mexico. But she said that it isn't, or I don't know, but so if you have any suggestions, I would love to hear them. And yeah, so we were just kind of going through the different hotels and looking at them and seeing which ones we really liked. And I think she gave us 5 hotels, and we narrowed it down to like 2 that we really like. And of those 2, we like picked one that we really want to stay at. So at some point, they kind of all start looking alike, you know? And I think that's the thing about the place that we stayed last year. It was like just so upscale, and we got a really great rate on it, and it was, you know, fantastic. So it would be nice if we could find something like that again. I'm really hungry. All I had today was that bagel sandwich and a little bit of potato salad left over. I'm like starving. But I don't really know what I want, but I'm like not hungry enough to, I don't know, get fast food or anything, but I don't want to go into a grocery store. And I mean, what am I going to get at a gas station? Like some chips? I don't even know what I would get. Doesn't that suck when you're hungry but you don't know what you want? I've been like craving the weirdest stuff lately. I feel like every time I hear somebody talk about food, like I start craving like that food, which is kind of funny, I think. Today I was Today I was craving chili and corn muffins. I have no idea why. And Alex went to Costco the other day and he brought home this huge thing of animal crackers, which I love, but it's like this ginormous family-sized thing of animal crackers. It cracks me up. All right, I'm gonna roll through the bank, and then I will be back in just a couple minutes. Okay, I'm back. We have a lot of fun things planned this summer. I'm really excited. We're planning this trip. And then I think we're going to go to Vegas sometime August, September for our anniversary. Alex was just talking to his cousin Maya tonight on the phone. She lives in Vegas. And she's like, well, you have to make, because she goes back and forth between Vegas and Los Angeles. And she was like, you have to make sure that, I was trying to think of a story, but anyway, I'll tell you that in a second. She was like, you have to make sure, they were FaceTiming, you have to make sure that you come out here when I'm out here, and I'm not going to be here this week, I'm not going to be here that week, and all this kind of stuff. Maya was serving at that concert, that country concert last year where the shooting happened. I think I talked about it on here at the time. I mean, she had all of these horrible bruises and stuff all over her legs, and she like still, it scares the shit out of her. And then she's a dancer too, like not a stripper. She's like dances for like DJs. Not that there's anything wrong with strippers. I've had a lot of friends that are strippers, but she's not a stripper. She's like dances for like DJs on stage and stuff. And I can't remember who it was now, but some DJ at Coachella, like, you know how they have the videos playing while they're like DJing? She was the dancer in the video. She was like the only dancer in the video for them. And I can't remember who it was now, but it was kind of like a really big deal that she got asked to do that. She's like an incredible dancer. The very first time I ever saw Alex salsa dance, we went with his cousin Maya and another friend of ours, and we went to the Jazz Kitchen in Indianapolis. And the Jazz Kitchen is like this really cool restaurant bar, and on Thursday nights they have Latino night and salsa night, and they like did salsa lessons at like 9 o'clock. And so we got there like early because Alex is like, you need to see the salsa lessons, it's really cool and whatever. And we got there early, and it was like dead. There was like nobody there. An hour and a half later, the place was packed. You could not move at all in this place. And it was like all really like loud, like, you know, like Latino music. And so Maya and Alex entered the salsa dancing contest, and they had these two judges that were like really professional, I don't know, they're professional salsa dancers or something. And so it was down to 3 couples. It was like 2 older couples and Alex and Maya. And people were literally rooting Alex and Maya on. I can still remember what he had on. He had like this V-neck orange t-shirt on and these tight jeans. And this was like 2 weeks after we started dating. And I was like, oh my God. And they danced to that Celia Cruz song, that La Negra Tien Tu Pao. And I mean, I still love that song today. Whenever I hear that song, it's like my favorite Celia Cruz song of life. Whenever I hear that song, I always think of that salsa dancing contest, of which they did not win. They got totally boogered, and they came in second. I think they were just trying to give it to this older couple because Alex and Maya were so good. I was like, oh my God, this is one of the sexiest nights I've ever had in my entire life. It was so much fun. So if you've never been to a salsa night, you should go to a salsa night. They're really, really entertaining. I was like, how do you learn to do this? And he was like, Peter, he was like, we grew up like salsa dancing in our kitchen. Maya was like, yeah, this is the stuff that we like learned doing when we were like little kids. Like when our parents would have parties, we would dance with them, you know, they would just like, you know, turn on the music and play a tape, and we would all, or a CD, and we would all be dancing around, you know? And it's funny because now it's like I see Carlitos, who's 5, doing the same thing. I mean, he's already like learning the salsa, and I love it. It's so cool. That was a really fun night. I don't know why I just remembered this movie, but this van went by, and it's like some crazy Mr. Marble Care. I don't even know what that is. Like marble, I don't know, in your house or something, I guess. But it reminded me of this van in this movie, and I can't remember what this movie is called, but it's about this scavenger hunt in Hollywood. Do you guys remember this back in the day? And there was this 2 twins that are real heavy set, and then there's like this chick on roller skates, and there's like 6 teams, and they're all like trying to beat the other one. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? It was like would have come out like in the late 70s. Midnight Madness, I think it's called. Oh my God, I love that movie. I like am so obsessed with like movies that nobody else has ever heard of. Like I love that movie, Midnight Madness. And then there's another movie called Chi-Chi and the Philly Flash, I think, and it's with Carol Burnett. And she's like this dance instructor, and like it's this murder mystery. I love that one. And then there was a movie with it was actually a Disney movie. I own copies of all of these movies, by the way, on like VCR. Like I had to own them. The girl that played in the original Superman, that played Lois Lane, I can't think of what her name is now. But anyway, she was in this movie, and she's like in some other country, and there's like this mystery that happens, and she gets obsessed with this mystery and trying to solve this mystery. But it's kind of comical at the same time. I loved that movie. And Cloak and Dagger, did you ever see that movie? I loved that movie. That takes place in San Antonio, Texas. And I feel like there's a bunch of movies. Man, this construction's crazy. But there's like so many movies that I have loved through the years that nobody else has heard of. Marie is one of my favorite movies with Sissy Spacek. And it's about, I can't think of her, Marie Ramchovy or something like that. But anyway, she worked for the state of Tennessee, and they were selling pardons and paroles. This was a true story, and she discovered that it was going on, and it was a fantastic movie, and people started hunting her down, and Jeff Daniels is in that movie too. All these movies that I love that like nobody's ever heard of before. There's this movie, and I have never in my life been able to find out what it is. And it's like the name of the movie is even something like really cheesy, but it's one of those like D-list adventure movies with like these big-breasted women, but they are going from like Texas to Mexico, and they're like on the run, and they're like in this convertible. I have tried to find this movie. It's not Freeway. People always tell me what they think it is. It's not Freeway. I do love the Freeway movies, though, although they are quite bizarre. And it's not this movie from the 70s that everybody tells me. It would have come out like in the late 80s. Late 80s, early 90s. I originally saw it like on Cinemax at like 2 o'clock in the morning, which I don't think should surprise anybody. And then I love the movie, Sunburn, and Farrah Fawcett's in it. Have you guys ever seen it? Some of these movies are fantastic. Somebody sent me, because I was talking about Death Valley on here one night, and with the kid that was in A Christmas Story, and so somebody sent me the link on YouTube, and I ended up watching it that night. I was like, oh my god, I love this movie. The Vanishing, did you guys ever see that movie? Oh, I'll tell you, I used to love made-for-TV movies too, like We Saw What You Did and We Know Who You Are. Did you ever see that with Cheryl Ladd and her daughter? Like the daughter, and she was on some show. I can't remember what that show was, if that girl was on, but anyway, she and her friend like prank call people, and they say like, we saw what you did and we know who you are. Well, they actually prank call like a murderer, right? And so he's like, oh my god, who like knows what I did? And so they try to like hunt these girls down, and then the mom like goes on a date with this murderer guy. It's like real weird. And like I remember the girl at the beginning like goes out to dinner with her mom, and they both dress up, and like she tries to act like she's her mom's sister, and like her mom gets real irritated about it. And then Her Last Chance was a Lifetime movie with Kelly Martin. We used to show it when I worked in treatment all the time, about Kelly Martin like is a horrible alcoholic, and then she goes to treatment all these times, and the girl that was in My So-Called Life, not Rayanne McGrath or Claire Danes, but the other friend with the long red hair, she is in this. She plays Kelly Martin, the queen of Lifetime movies. She plays Kelly Martin's best friend, and she's like, I'll quit drinking for you, and she doesn't. Then at the very end, Kelly Martin gets sober, and she becomes like a a counselor, like in treatment. Sound familiar? And then there was a movie called Wasted, too, and it was an MTV movie. And it was about the heroin epidemic and how it was taking over Plano, Texas. And 3 different kids. And actually, the guy that is the kid in Breaking Bad is in that show. And it's about like these 3 different kids that are friends and like how heroin overtakes the city and how they get hooked on it. And it's really a good movie. It's very depressing though, but it's a really good movie. And basically it proves the saying that if you continue to use, you'll end up in jails, institutions, and death. That those are the 3, options for people that keep on using. But it's a really good movie too. There are a lot of good addiction movies out there. 28 Days with Sandra Bullock is fantastic. And I think it honestly is a lot of like what treatment really is like. The friendships that you make and things like that. The relationships that people should not engage in, but they do anyway. And then Clean and Sober is probably my all-time favorite addiction movie. With Michael Douglas. No, not Michael Douglas. Michael Keaton. Oh, I just remembered another movie, Punchline, with Michael Keaton and Sally Field, where they're stand-up comedians, and he teaches her everything that she needs to know to be a comedian. That is a really good movie. And Windy City is a really good movie. I'm just like rambling movies. Windy City is a really good movie too. There are people out there right now, I know y'all are writing down every movie I'm saying. And you should be, because you should go watch all these movies. They're fantastic. Into the Night is my favorite movie, though. If you're going to watch a movie, watch Into the Night with Jeff Goldblum and Michelle Pfeiffer. I don't know why, for the life. It is not a deep movie. Trip to Bountiful with Geraldine Page is probably my second favorite movie. Well, I mean, To Kill a Mockingbird, Always and Forever will be my number 1. But number 2 is probably Into the Night, and number 3 is probably Trip to Bountiful with Geraldine Page. I got so off track now, I don't even remember what I was saying. So many good movies, though. So many good movies that I haven't even heard of, But Clean and Sober is with Michael Keaton, and I just said so many good movies that I've never even heard of. Well, that's true, I guess. But Clean and Sober is with Michael Keaton, and he wakes up, and there is a girl that is overdosed, and she is dead in his bed. So he's terrified of his company finding out, and he's a cocaine addict. And so he goes into treatment to hide out. And, oh shit, why can't I think of his name? Damn it. God, he's such a brilliant actor. Why can't I think of his name? Well, he becomes his counselor, and he's not going to take any shit from him. And Michael Keaton is a total ass in the movie. But it really, like, for me, like, when I was in treatment, like, it really shows, like, what treatment was really all about. And, like, I mean, I went to a treatment program where they were not willing to take any shit, period, Like, they just weren't. And, Morgan Freeman, that's who it is. And, the place's counselor. They just weren't willing to take any shit, They were like, you're either going to be here and you're going to do what we're asking you to do, or you can leave. And I had never really in my life had anybody talk to me that way. And I, with this just kind of attitude of like, indifference, that like, you either want this and you want to turn your life around, or you really don't give a shit. And that was really like what I needed at that time, I really needed somebody to treat me that way. And that saved my life, was that I was no different, no more special than somebody else. And I'm really, to be honest with you, quite thankful that I wasn't sent to one of these $100,000 a month treatment programs, because I don't know that I would be here right now. I needed to be with people that I wasn't any different. I wasn't treated any different than them, and I was with people that had better lives than me. I was with people that had 100 times worse lives than me. I was with people that had, like, killed their kids in car accidents, drinking and driving. I was in there with kids I wasn't in there with kids. I was in it with all adults. I was in there with, like, men that had been 20-year heroin addicts. It was really powerful for me, and the most powerful thing was I'm no different than anybody else, you know? And I have to put in the same amount of work and do the same things that they do to stay sober. You know, addiction is an equal opportunity offender. I mean, it'll affect anybody. There are these posters that they have, and I love them. And they'll say, it says like, this is the picture of an addict. And then it has like 20 pictures of people's faces underneath it, right? And it's like, you know, like addiction is the most diverse disease. It doesn't like it has no economic, boundaries. It knows no like, racial boundaries. It knows no age boundaries. It affects everybody, and I have met quite a few addicts and alcoholics in my life that thought they were above it all, that thought they could cheat the system to some effect. But what you realize is that like paying attorneys off to get you out of legal problems and all that kind of stuff, you're really just screwing yourself. I mean, I know that today. I did not know that then, but today I know that, that everything that I did to keep me from suffering consequences was one more padded cell away from me having to go to treatment and really get sober. Like, and my dad, who was an awesome guy, but he just didn't know what he was doing at the time, was my chief enabler. Had he not been enabling me like that, I might have gotten sober a lot sooner, until he finally put his foot down and said, enough is enough. I'm done with this stuff. This is crap. I said something to my dad about my friends, because he said, you are hanging out with people that do not care about you. And I said, do not talk about my friends that way. My friends are like family to me. And my dad said, if that's how you treat your family, then you don't treat your family very well. You might want to think about that. And, I wasn't treating anybody well. I was so selfish. I didn't care about anybody but my own selfish needs. I didn't care about who I hurt. I didn't care about anything except for my life. But it was masked through pity, and you should feel sorry for me. And if you knew my life and how hard my life is, my life was not hard, Hell, I've known women that moved into halfway houses, had their kids taken away from them, got sober for a year, off of 16 different substances, went through treatment, was on parole, got their kids back, worked 3 jobs just to get their kids back and put food on the table, and went to 7 meetings a week, I was a spoiled brat at 22. And I thought I had some difficult life. I didn't have any kind of difficult life. I didn't, And today I know that. And that's why today I'm so grateful for my life that I have today and the life that I had then that got me here, There's always so many people out there that have it 10 times worse than us. But, part of my con was feel sorry for me. If I can get you to feel sorry for me and buy into my depressing act of how difficult my life is, then I can get you to do anything for me. But it wasn't even conscious. Like, I didn't even think that way, Like, I honest to God didn't even think back then. Like, today I realize how disgustingly selfish that is, That, like, I had people all around me that were working 10 times harder than me and, cared about me and loved me, and I didn't see it that way. I saw it that, if they were wanting to help me, they didn't really care about me. They didn't love me. If you really loved me, then you wouldn't do this to me. Or if you had loved me then, you wouldn't have let it get this far. It was just this constant game I played with people. And if you're a family member or a friend or a spouse of an addict, you have been manipulated 6 ways from Sunday, and you need to just stop allowing it to happen in your life. You need to look at that person and say, I love you enough to let you know that I'm not going to allow you to manipulate me anymore. I love you enough to say no. I love you enough to not continue to enable this bullshit behavior, because addiction is not just about the drugs and the alcohol. Addiction is about the selfish behavior. It's about the manipulation. It's about the con. It's about the, lying and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, back in the day, these patients would be admitted and their parents would tell me, and like the assessment counselor, now my daughter is the most manipulative person you're ever going to meet in your entire life. And I'm thinking, we got 20 of the most manipulative people back there, and I'm one of them, you know what I mean? But 20 patients back there. And, you know, it's sad. And the saddest part is that most of us don't even realize that we're doing it when we're doing it, you know? Later, when I was sober, a year later, and, you know, I'm laying all this out in front of my dad, and I'm making amends to my dad and stepmom, which was not easy, you know? And they're like, well, these are the things that you did that hurt us the most. And the things I did that hurt my dad and my stepmom the most didn't even have to do with drugs or alcohol. It had to do with, like, behaviors, you know? And you can excuse things away when you're using. I hate when addicts and alcoholics do it to me and say, well, you know, I was drunk, or, you know, oh, I was, you know, using or whatever. I mean, I don't have a lot of people like that in my life today, so it doesn't really affect me, but I've had those people in my life, and I'm kind of like, you know, like, okay, I use those excuses too. But the reality is that, like, at its core, manipulation's manipulation. And my main goal back in the day was get my fix, have enough money to hang out with my friends and pay my bills, and get you off my back. Those were my three main things, like, you know, and I would do anything to do that. You know, I mean, I can remember specific conversations at my dad's house, you know, when I would go over there, and looking back, I realize now that I was deliberately picking a fight, you know? I mean, he would say it to me, you're not picking a fight with me today. I know what you're doing. You're deliberately picking a fight. Why would I want to deliberately, I mean, my language was much worse than this, but I mean, why would I deliberately pick a fight with you? You always, whenever I come over here, you're always attacking me. You're always doing this to me, you know? You don't know how hard it is for me. I don't have any food to eat. I haven't eaten in 2 days. My dad would be like, well, let me make you a sandwich. Let me make you some soup. I don't want to eat here now. Are you kidding me? I've been sitting here all day long, and I'm like, you know, and I'm sitting there and we're having this conversation. And he'd give me $20, you know, and I would say, thank you. And then I would say, I'm sorry, Dad. I don't want to fight with you. Like, I don't want our relationship to be like this. We'll just sit down here and have dinner. No, now I'm too hot. I need to cool down. You know, and I would leave, and on the way home, I would get a 6-pack, you know, of usually Red Stripe, and, you know, a pint of Jack Daniels. I think that was about $20 worth. And then I would go home and didn't even realize it, that what I had just done. And then later, you know, when my dad's saying that to me, what I realized was it wasn't even about me getting the drink or the drug. It was about those hurtful behaviors to my dad of putting him through that, you know? So today, it's very, very important for me that I don't manipulate people, that I don't lie, that, you know, I meet my dad where he's at, and I try to be the best son that I can be for him, you know? And that I don't ever, you know, in any kind of way manipulate him. And if, you know, financially he lets me help out in some way with him, I do that, you know, which he doesn't need my help, but like buying a lunch or something like that every once in a blue moon. But you know what I mean? Like, I can be that son today that he needs me to be. And I'm thankful for that, because there was a long time that I couldn't be that son. I wasn't capable of being that son, you know? I didn't even know what that looked like to be that son. Nor did I care. My relationship with my dad today is probably one of my proudest moments that I've worked through, you know, like, I mean, there was a 5-year period there, even when I was, you know, working in a treatment program, going to meetings, staying sober and all that kind of stuff. There was like a 5-year period where he did not want anything to do with me. He just really didn't. He didn't want me around. You know, I come over there and hey, how are you? And I'd sit out there and talk to him and my stepmom. But like he was very careful with me. You know, it was like, and my mom, like, she'd start putting her purse places when I would come over. You know, she never even had any money to begin with. And I remember later, when I made, you know, amends to my dad, and I talked to him about the financial amends, and I told him that I had been stealing money from him forever because, you know, I would steal cash from him. And I'll never forget the look on his face. He was so hurt. And he goes, "You think I didn't know that you were stealing money from me?" And I said, "Well, why did..." He goes, "I knew exactly how much cash I had on me at any given time." He said, "Peter, I have known how much cash I have on me at any given time for the last 20 years. And I said, "Well, then why did you allow it?" And he said, "I was so afraid that you were going to start, either stealing from other people or prostituting, that I would rather have you steal from me than go out there and do those things." And at that point, I had been sober a year, and so I had enough empathy to realize that's some bullshit to put a parent through. You know what I mean? Like, that's some hateful shit to put your parent through. That he would even have to have that, that consciousness, of, well, it's either this or that. Like, it just breaks my heart, 2 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, I read Beautiful Boy by David Sheff. And it's about his son's methamphetamine addiction and, like, how he learns over time to set boundaries and limits and not enable him. But at first, he is, like, the chief enabler, And that book, man, was really hard for me to read. I had recommended it to parents for years, and I had never read it. And his son, Nick Sheff, has written several books, but he's also written his own story, which is called Tweak. But I had never read it, and I read it, like, last year, I think it was the year before. And I mean, I was floored. These potholes are ridiculous. I was floored. I mean, it was like a slap in the face of my father's story. I was like, hearing another father go through what I had put my dad through. I shielded my mom from so much of it. Partly because she was on her own addiction, but partly because, I don't know, I just didn't think my mom could handle a lot of it. So she didn't see a lot of it. She just... I know my dad was telling her things that were going on, but she was really rather surprised by a lot of it, And, but my dad knew everything. He saw every bit of it. He saw every ugly thing, every arrest, he saw all of it. And I read that book and I was like, you still have some work to do on being a better son, because you really did put your dad through it, even if that was 23 years ago. And I know my dad is proud of me. I know he is. He lets me know it a lot, and he is an awesome man, and I love him, but that's some shit. And, I put my stepmom through a lot of hell, too. They had a lot of marital fights as a result of me. I know that for a fact. So, how did I get from movies to this, my lord? 1 second, we're talking about my world's favorite movies that nobody knows of, and then the next second, we're talking about this. Crazy. Anyway, I am it is almost at a half an hour for this little clip segment, so I'm going to end it here and bid you guys a good night and get ready for the weekend, because it's coming. Anyway, I love you guys, and I hope that you are doing really well, and I will talk to you later. Bye.